I love video games. I know, what a bold statement to make. But making game hard. But does making game have to be hard? No, no, no. I wanted to get into game development, so I set myself the challenge to make a game, as well as collaborate with others to do so. But before asking for help, I wanted to get a grasp on the whole thing. I have a rough idea on how it will work, so I decided to join a game jam. I had a few that caught my eyes, and one in particular, the Metroidvania X Magical Girl Jam. I have a very small knowledge on Metroidvania, and even smaller on the Magical Girl genre. My only sources are Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl and Minky Momo. So yeah, a very standard knowledge of the genre. But hey, that was a good excuse to learn. Anyways, I joined the jam about a week and a half before I started, so I could plan things out and figure out some ideas. I did some research on both the genres and experimented a bit. Then finally, about a week before the jam started, I installed the software I'd used to create the game, Godot. At first I wanted to use Game Maker Studio, but the universe said no, so I moved on to Godot. I knew the game had to be a 2D platformer, sort of, and even though I have more experience with Unity, it's more catered to 3D, as opposed to Godot which thrives in 2D. That also allowed me to learn that Godot is coded in Python. And guess who spent 2 years of their life coding in Python at school? It's me. I did that. And to be fair, I won't be coding in Python directly. I'll be using Godot's own language, GodoScript, which is like Python's son he didn't know he had until it was time to page child support. But now the software was chosen, it was time to learn it. So I decided for the week prior to the jam, I would solely learn player movement. As while seemingly narrowing the spec of what a full game encompasses, it would allow me to learn most of the game's aspects, as well as understand the nomenclature of GDScript. You get the picture. Anyway, time to start. I wanted, first off, a system where if you press a button, you could switch between 3 levels of speed. Default, basically walking speed, run, faster but still manageable, and dash, fastest, harder to control, but allowed to move around more quickly. Secondly, the jumping. I added double jump, wall sliding, and wall jumping. Then finally, making a bump mechanic. You see, when you go too fast and don't realize there's a wall, you'll bump into it. When an enemy is in the way, you'll bump into it, stunning you. This was the main mechanic I wanted to focus on. I was pretty proud of it, and honestly, that's when I started getting confidence in the project, and I was sure nothing would slow me down. So my PC broke. The screen just kind of gave up on me, so I spent 2 weeks without it. I still managed to get work done through a weaker machine, so I focused on coding and decided I would work on the art when I got my machine back. So yeah, I made sure the player movement felt satisfying and easy to grasp, while still allowing for experimentation. And as I made sure the player itself was ready, the jam started. The first week of the jam, no turning back now. I started the week by learning about state machine, to try and make my player code more clean. Then I realized this made it more confusing for me, since I don't know Godot well enough. So I just went back to my spaghetti code and decided I would learn state machine while making the enemy AI. Then I decided I'd just be better off with my spaghetti code. Yeah, sometimes it's just better to stick with what you know, but I'm sure I'll learn how they work someday. So yeah, for week 1 of the jam, I figured out the player health system, the first enemy AI, and the different kind of attacks the player would use. This enemy will be the classic one, your Husk in Ultra Kill, or I guess more like your Goomba in Mario. The way it works is, the enemy will walk around at random, either left or right, and if the player enters their visibility area, the enemy will chase them. If the player gets out of the area, the enemy will keep chasing for a while, and then go back to just roaming around. If the player gets close enough, they will attack. As for the players, they possess 3 types of attack. Melee, when they're on the floor, air, when they're in the air, and finally, wall, when they're sliding on a wall. Each has its own attack range, with air attack having the widest one, and wall being there just in case. When the player strikes an enemy, it will receive a clank back effect, and that's the fighting system. But now that a player can take damage, they should also be able to heal, which is why I created a familiar that will accompany you around the map to heal you slowly. I made it so that if you walk, it will be able to keep up with you, but if you start running, it will have trouble to catch up to you. And that's about it for week 1. I think I got most of the mechanic down. As week 2 started, since the player was pretty much ready, I decided to get down to making its final design. Finally putting it on paper, or I guess on screen, it felt really great. To be able to actually see it instead of just thinking it is nice. I took a break from the design to focus on another mechanic, a score system. I wanted a timer, a kill count, and a rescue count, which all would add up for the final ranking of either B, A, or S. Unfortunately, the timer doesn't get accounted for in the final result, but it's still extremely accurate, so it can still count for your personal best. Just take a screenshot or something, trust. In the middle of the week, I added a transition system so you could switch between scenes, and I also prepared the different menus, main menu, dev screen, and score scene. Once I was satisfied with those, I moved on to finish the protagonist design, and there she is. Her name is Giselle. Hope you like her, cause you'll be stuck playing as her for the entire game. For the second half of the week, I started working on her model. You see, I wanted to blend both 2D and 3D for the project, by having the characters be 3D models and the background 2D drawings. I was not able to fully commit to that, but for now, I am still quite happy with how she turned out. At the time, I also finally got my PC back, so things started to go much smoother. I added 2 more types of enemies, one that would fight toward you, and another I think you'll be better off discovering yourself. Finally, to conclude, I added the little fairies you'll have to rescue throughout the levels. Anyways, that's it for week 2, so moving on to... Starting week 3, I finally chose the extent to which I wanted to go with the game. Mostly the number of levels the player would have to deal with. I settled on making 3 levels. The first one would be a city, the second one an hotel, and the third a boss fight. With that in mind, all I had to do was focus on bringing all of this to life. I moved on to playing out the layout of level 1, what kind of platforms the player would navigate, what to do to make the whole thing feel alive. I already knew I wanted to go with a purplish color scheme, to contrast with the player's yellow, so I focused on that. I also worked on player animation, as well as the familiar's design, which I'm not fully satisfied with, but think it's alright. As the week went on, I finalized level 1, making it just as I wish, figuring out prompt to place around, as well as enemies and object placement. Finally, I realized it would be simpler to make sprites for the enemy instead of 3D models. So I decided to make most enemies sprites, and would simply make more important ones, such as the boss, 3D models. Around first day, the first enemy sprites were done, as well as the player animation. During the weekend, I made sure to have both the second enemy and the fairy design ready, as well as their sprites. And finally, with the first level done, I created a selection menu and coded the scoreboard appropriated to the first level. As the week ended, I still had no idea what to do for the boss, which got worrying since we're entering. For the final week, I started by focusing on giving all the characters sound effect, as well as creating the music for the game. Specifically, I wanted the music to transition between combat and exploration. As the week went on, I made the layout for level 2, as well as his prompt, and I still had no idea what to do with the boss. But that evening, I had an idea. You see, I wanted the boss to be a full 3D model, like the player. But since I already had the player, I could recycle the model for the boss. And to make sure it didn't get too confusing, I made it more coherent with the story, which I would explain to the player via cutscenes. I had already planned to make cutscenes, but didn't really know how to implement them. So what I did is simple. Before each level, you get a little intermission, showing the thoughts of the character and their next objective. For the character portraits, I knew before I even started, I wanted to take inspiration from Helltaker's absolutely amazing hairstyle, but also took inspiration from Invitable's sleek design. With the cutscenes and boss all thought out, the workflow went way faster. I quickly finished designing the level 2, the hotel corridor, as well as level 1 and 2 cutscenes. I added all the different menus, music and background, and as Friday finished, I could dedicate my entire Saturday to the boss fight, to make sure it was perfect. It wasn't, but I'm still hella proud of it. I said I would focus on the boss, but I also needed a tutorial level, to explain to players how the game works. So I quickly made one. Before the mechanics explained, I moved on to the boss. The boss room would be the climax of the game, so it had to feel grandiose. I decided the room would be heavily inspired by the final stage of Ilbo Inu Kill, since the boss would be a copy of the player. I thought it was fitting. As the basic room was done, I added a system that would make lightning strike at random interval to add to the drama of the scene. Finally, I made the boss attack animations. And as the last addition to the day, I made their cutscene, dialogue, and death animation. For Sunday, since I was pretty much done already, I debated for a bit if I should add an end cutscene, since it would be a risk to do something with such a different art direction so late. And in retrospect, I do feel like it clashed with the rest of the art, but oh well. I made an end cutscene to give the game a proper conclusion, instead of just throwing you back to the main menu. And with that, the game was ready. I tested it a few more times, and still managed to miss so many more bugs and tweaks I hadn't checked, which meant I had to put up the itch.io page, then delete the game and re-upload it about 3 times. Oh my god! But yeah, no, I made the game page, explained a rough idea of the story, showed some screenshots and submitted it. In 1 month, I had made a game. Albeit a very rough one, but man, I'm proud of it. I probably won't touch Godot for another year though. Nah, I'm lying. I do need a break though. But yeah, as much as I am proud of it, there are definitely things that need to be improved on. Which I will, since now I don't have a deadline anymore. I already got a few feedbacks that are quite helpful, and there are things I wanted to do, I didn't have much time to do. So yeah, once I am truly satisfied with the version I had in mind, I'll update the page with it. So if you're interested by that, you know you could subscribe and maybe follow me on other platforms as well. But for now, it would make me extremely happy if you just took the time to check it out and give me feedbacks. Also, check out the other game in the jam. I've tested a lot of them and I'm always amazed at how different people interpret a theme. My personal favorites so far are definitely Shredoka and Jailbird. Anyways, thanks for watching and goodbye.